This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. A quick change by President Bush tonight in tactics for keeping his flag campaign flying. The switch prompted new questions about whether Mr. Bush is playing party politics in promoting a drive to change the Constitution, an amendment that would nullify last week's Supreme Court ruling that even flag burning is constitutionally protected free expression. CBS News White House correspondent Leslie Stahl has been following the tactic switch. Leslie?
Dan, late today, President Bush decided to work with congressional Republicans so they can present a joint Republican constitutional amendment banning flag burning later this week. Originally, the president had hoped to present his own amendment today. Democrats worry the president is playing politics with the flag.
I would hope that nobody thinks that they have a lock on patriotism, that no political party would think that they alone are defenders of the faith, of the flag, of democracy in this country.
Someone in the House called the flag issue a national panic. Republican congressmen plan to keep the House floor open all night tonight for any member who wants to make a televised speech about the flag. The Democratic Party sent out this memo urging state leaders to display the flag at their 4th of July celebrations.
I'm here to protest. You're protesting.
In Little Rock, a group of veterans went after a protester who tried to burn a flag. Things really heated up before the state police broke in.
We tolerate dissent more than any society or political system in the world's history. But there have to be limits, and this is the kind of limit I think that the American people will recognize as proper.
Scholars say that once emotions cool off, actually enacting a constitutional amendment will be tough.
They're extremely rare, and it is a touchy thing to start fiddling around with the Constitution. You don't want to amend it easily because that breeds a kind of a disrespect for the Constitution.
The White House is sensitive to charges that the president is using the flag as a political tool. Officials here say they will try to get some Democrats to sign on to their amendment, but as of now, it's one party against the other. Dan?
Thank you, Leslie. The government today reported that its chief gauge for estimating future economic activity plunged in May. Analysts point out that a one-month change in an economic report often doesn't mean much, but this was the third decline in 4 months for the index of leading indicators. And correspondent Richard Roth reports today's figures worried some economists.
From consumer confidence to manufacturers' orders, almost all the government's indicators were pointing down, pointing to a summertime cooling of the nation's economy. Overall, the index that's supposed to predict future economic health was off 1.2% in May, the biggest monthly drop since the market crash of '87. The stock market today heard the news and reacted, closing almost 22 points down after learning the indicators had fallen more than most experts expected. The index shows the direction the economy is heading, but doesn't tell how far it's likely to go. And that was the nub of today's argument among analysts. The White House insisted the economy is healthy and still growing, just growing more slowly.
Some people just can't tolerate growth and the creation of jobs. That they feel that a recession has to be part of the American culture. We're going to try to prove them wrong.
Private forecasters said recession is still avoidable as the economy slows down, but some warned it's getting close.
We're seeing a pulling back and a more cautious consumer stance already. I think there's more of that to come.
How much more is the key? Auto sales are in a slump. Big-ticket household goods are selling like cars, and retailers are worried the worst may be yet to come.
I don't think we're down much, but people are just holding onto their money. They're not buying something unless they absolutely have to have it.
Primarily through interest rates controlled by the Federal Reserve Board, the administration hopes the economy is being guided toward what's called a soft landing. The concern from today's figures is that the brakes might already be on too hard. Dan?
Thank you, Richard. In the economy of Argentina, the problem is that the accelerator is stuck on the floor. Fred Tice is our man in Argentina.
At the Buenos Aires stockyards, the morning bell rings more like a warning bell, tolling the woes of a country that no one wants to run anymore. Beef prices are up 90% just this month, part of the inflationary stampede that is running Argentina into the ground. They call it the storm, and it's got people running to the bank to find shelter for their savings. Keep your money moving. Today, the best bet could be the black market dollar. Tomorrow could mean interest rates of 100% a month. It takes an army of armored cars just to move the vast quantities of paper money that keep business going from day to day. For the unlucky majority of Argentines, salaries only buy 1/3 of what they did at the beginning of the year. The Treasury can't print the bills fast enough to keep up with prices that double every month.
One bill they don't print here anymore is this bill. When it was first issued 4 years ago, it was worth $120. Today, it'll get you a quarter.
Enough for a pound of bread, but on a minimum wage, that's 1/3 of a day's take-home pay. The worst rioting in memory gave Argentines a taste of what's in store if somebody doesn't put an end to inflation. Walls of fear are going up, defenses against the chance that what happened here a few weeks ago was just a rehearsal for something worse. Shopkeepers were shouting, "I'll kill you for this," at relatives eager to pick their shelves clean. Hungry cousin fought cousin in a scramble for the crumbs of a collapsing economy. The whole country is wondering, what next? Frederick Tai, CBS News, Buenos Aires.
A U.S. diplomat was killed in Grenada today. He was apparently a bystander when a local feud ended in a shootout. U.S. Embassy official John Butler was at police headquarters, reportedly on routine business, when a former Grenadian police official walked in and opened fire. He killed the acting police commissioner and Butler and wounded 2 more people before police shot and killed him. U.S. Embassy official Butler was 33. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Bob Schieffer on a congressional vote today about private lives and public policy, and Harold Dow on the mob discovery of big money in toxic trash.
Today's Wednesday. For some people, just another day. But not for me, because like yesterday, and every day since recovering from my heart attack, I'm following my doctor's orders and taking an aspirin.
Only your doctor knows what's best for you. So if you've had a heart attack, ask how a regimen that includes exercise, a healthy diet, and tri-buffered bufferin every day might benefit you.
Bufferin's a part of my life now.
Try buffered bufferin. Ask your doctor about it.
Why can't they make a stronger flea collar?
Someone has. Scratch X. Look, compared to Hearts and Sergeants, Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas. Compare. All these collars kill fleas, but Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas, since it's government approved to work twice as long.
Yet Scratch X is safe for 3-month-old pets.
Remember, compared to Hearts and Sergeants' 5-month collars, the Scratch X 11-month collar has the power to kill twice as many fleas.
These days, I'm eating better. Less cholesterol, more fiber, plenty of fruits and vegetables. So how come I'm the one with a painful gas?
Surprise! The foods highest in nutrition are often highest in gas. That's why there's Gas X. Unlike the leading antacid, Gas X has the only ingredient approved for the relief of gas pain and pressure. See? Only Gas X gets rid of the gas, so you feel better fast.
I'll eat to that.
Eat right and feel right with Gas X.
Action by the U.S. House of Representatives today in an unusual case, a court case involving coercion and contempt, marriage and divorce, the safety and whereabouts of a child. CBS News Chief Washington Correspondent Bob Schieffer reports on private lives and public policy.
For 22 months, prominent Washington plastic surgeon Elizabeth Morgan has been held for contempt in a Washington, D.C. jail because she wouldn't tell a local judge the whereabouts of her 6-year-old daughter Hillary, a child she claims was sexually abused and tortured by her ex-husband, oral surgeon Eric Fortich.
To see her suffering is... I can't even talk about it without crying. To see her suffering is what haunts me. It's not jail.
But today, in legislation designed solely to set Dr. Morgan free, the House voted overwhelmingly to limit the amount of time District of Columbia judges can jail people on contempt charges.
She's not been accused of any crime. All she has ever done has been held in contempt of this individual judge. And for 22 months now, she has languished in a prison.
If you can show me a single statement
where either of my children said I ever touched them. I like to see it because it doesn't exist.
Like a seamy episode out of a soap opera, the fight has often been played out on the talk show circuit.
My daughter was raped by Eric.
Fortich contends his wife is mentally unbalanced and again today said he just wants to see his daughter.
I would be delighted for Elizabeth Morgan to be released from jail. My only concern is getting my child back to know that she's well and safe.
Even if the Senate goes along with the House, Dr. Morgan will apparently remain in custody at least until the middle of next month, since senators can't even take up the matter until they return from the current recess on July 10th. Bob Schieffer, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
News of the environment and the economy. It's estimated there are fewer than 2,000 pairs of northern spotted owls alive. They live in the old-growth forests of the Pacific Northwest, and each pair may need up to 5,000 acres of that forest to survive. And tonight, the spotted owl was the centerpiece in talks aimed at preventing an economic earthquake for a vital Northwest industry. Jerry Bowen reports.
In the vast timber stands of the Pacific Northwest, especially in Oregon tonight, there's a race against the clock, a desperate effort to find a way for two threatened species to coexist. The Oregon mill worker and the northern spotted owl. Court orders have halted logging in the old-growth forest where the owls live. The ban could become permanent, removing half the federal forest from timbering if the birds are declared endangered. Already, 30 mills have been closed, 2,000 jobs lost.
The preservationists in their lawsuits have our back against the wall, have a gun to our head.
There have been protest convoys throughout the spring and early summer by angry timber workers, and over the weekend, a rally to protest the logging restrictions as a last-minute summit meeting was held to hammer out a compromise. Timber interests would greatly reduce old-growth cutting if environmentalists dropped their court fight. Jobs and owls could be saved. Some environmentalists were skeptical.
Conservationists, like misers, may be hell to live with, but they make great ancestors. And I think we need to keep that in mind, that we're talking about the long term here.
Today, another mill said it would lay off 80 workers if the deal fell through, and Oregon's congressional leaders searched for a plan they could attach to a House bill that comes up tomorrow setting timber harvest levels, something they could write into law. But today, the talks collapsed.
If things stay where they are, you're talking about an economic catastrophe this summer, not next year. There won't be a next year for large numbers of communities and a large number of mills in Oregon and Washington State.
You go and face those people whose jobs are threatened. How do you deal with people who have to provide the bread for their family?
Another measure of the desperation here was yesterday's statewide vote to ban log exports from state forests in an effort to keep timber flowing to the local mills, to keep people working. But that plan needs congressional approval. Oregon's environmentalists say there's still time to work out another deal, that they're still willing to talk, as long as it doesn't mean compromising the future of the spotted owl. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Portland.
Firefighters from Oregon and Washington State today helped battle a fast-moving brush fire that's ripped through 4,000 acres of California's Cleveland National Forest. Aerial tankers dropped water on the fire, which started yesterday afternoon, but crews were hampered by the rugged, steep terrain and dust-dry brush, the result of a 3-year drought. Some 200 people fled their homes.
How strong is extra strength Tums EX? Heartburn strikes, Tums strikes back. Heartburn's gone that fast. Tums EX, twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
For many generations, oat bran has been a natural part of their breakfast. Part of a balance of grains and fruits and nuts. Now known as Kellogg's Mueslix. How fortunate we have rediscovered what they knew all along. Kellogg's Mueslix with oat bran. What breakfast was meant to be.
Financial serenity. It takes confidence, control, a
Travelers has been delivering on this promise of financial peace of mind for 125 years. With carefully controlled investments, with insurance protection you can trust. The Travelers, you're better off under the umbrella.
To my beautiful wife.
It's nice to know he still loves the way you look. And if you wear dentures, you can count on Effordent to freshen up dentures and clean away stains so well. With Effordent, all he'll notice is you.
With mutual cooperation, the United States and Japan settled one of their most urgent trade disputes today, and at least for the time being, averted a trade war over telecommunications. All-night talks in Washington succeeded in clearing the way for the Motorola Company of Illinois to sell its mobile telephones in the Tokyo area, which it had trouble doing. All-night talks in Tokyo, meantime, failed to get the Japanese government out of its latest crisis over the new Prime Minister's former sex life. Bill Whitaker has our report.
Prime Minister Susuke Uno was all smiles today, the mask of a man in trouble. It's been less than 1 month since his wife moved family belongings into the official residence. Now Uno is on the front pages, caught up in a seamy sex scandal. The Prime Minister and the geisha, it's like nothing Japan has ever seen before. Discretion has always been part of the geisha tradition. But this week, a former geisha went on national TV and said that Uno paid her $21,000 for a brief affair 4 years ago. She called him rough and unkind. He should not be in politics, she said. And today there were reports of 2 other Uno affairs. To many Japanese men, this is much ado about nothing.
It is not so bad. Many people have same experience.
I think that is the personal problem. You know, we don't care about that one. But many Japanese, especially women, do care. The head of the Socialist Party has called for the Prime Minister to resign. The public outcry over the Uno affair signals major changes in Japanese society. Uno was dubbed Mr. Clean when he took over from disgraced Prime Minister Takeshita less than a month ago. Now the man in the white gloves is threatened by his own scandal. And so Uno has taken to visiting Buddhist monks, perhaps to give himself a better image. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Tokyo.
The head of the Soviet KGB said today that American defector Glenn Michael Souther took his own life. Souther's death was announced by Moscow yesterday. Today, the KGB chief said the former U.S. Navy man had cracked under the pressure of his life as a spy, calling him an emotional, caring, sensitive person, unquote. Israeli troops in Gaza today shot and killed the chief suspect in the recent kidnapping of an American relief worker. Israeli television said Mohammed Abdul Nasser was killed in a gunfight with soldiers after he hijacked a taxi and refused to stop for an army patrol. American Chris George identified Nasser as the leader of a 3-man gang that abducted him last week and then released him a day later.
Some springs, gardeners think good weather's never coming.
It comes. But how do you make up for lost time? With Stern's Miracle Grow plant food.
Years of testing at a major university proved plants fed with Miracle grow faster, stronger, produce more flowers and vegetables than with other types of plant foods.
So even if it's been a cold, wet spring, you can make up for lost time and get more from your garden with Miracle Grow.
Color Tile's got one hot sale for you with summer savings of up to 75%. Yes, up to 75% on a huge selection of in-stock wall coverings. Save up to 62% on ceramic floor tiles, up to 35% on Armstrong Sundial Solarian sheet vinyl, up to 63% on mosaic tiles, plus new color carpet featuring Anso 5 worry-free carpet, now up to 33% off. Don't miss the savings. It's one hot sale and it's on now at Color Tile. Sale ends July 4th.
This is one of 570 million refund locations for American Express traveler's checks. Now you can get a refund virtually anywhere there's a phone. Only from American Express traveler's checks. So if your bank doesn't carry them, go to one that does.
With arthritis, there's pain. And then there's pain. For relief, there's aspirin. And then there's Anacin. The Anacin aspirin formula has more medicine than regular aspirin.
That's not relief. That's relief.
Anacin.
In Providence, Rhode Island today, authorities arrested the captain of the Greek tanker that spilled 420,000 gallons of heating oil into Narragansett Bay last week. Yakobos Georgodis was charged with violating the Clean Water Act and the Federal Refuse Act. New evidence today that organized crime may be finding new dirty business to get into and far from big city home base. CBS News correspondent Harold Dow has been investigating one frightening case in point: the mob and hazardous waste dumping.
Whether it's construction debris, medical waste, or industrial toxins, America is running out of room to dump its garbage. With dumps so scarce and profits so high, the waste disposal crisis has become a magnet for the mob.
It's perfect. It has all of the elements that provide a fertile ground for organized crime or other criminal groups.
Illegal dumps can pop up anywhere. Rural and peaceful towns are prime targets. It happened here in Tuxedo, New York, where toxic waste and small-town corruption opened the door for big-time profits and murder.
Authorities say the murder victim was Robert Maloney, a dump manager. They say he was shot in the head and then buried in this landfill. They suspect he knew too much about his boss, Frank Sacco, a convicted felon and the operator of another dump in Tuxedo. When Sacco came to town, he bribed the police chief, a state inspector, and went into business with the town justice, all to protect the dump where he allegedly made millions of dollars in just 6 months. It was supposed to be for construction and demolition debris only, but much more than that was dumped here.
Other kinds of material that had toxic chemicals, petrochemicals were found in there, toxins, carcinogens.
It was a horror for quite a while. Your eyes would be watering, your throat burning, and your nose burned.
Chuck Gullidge lives just across the street.
In the early morning hours, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, when the dew was on the ground, the smell seemed to lay and just creep into everything.
The smell also crept into the restaurant across the street. Owner Frank Moan tried to complain, but nobody listened.
Did you go to the justice, town justice, and say, hey, this is...
It was his property.
It was the justice's property?
It was the justice's property.
Small town.
Small town.
Renard Barone was the town justice. He was convicted of perjury and tax evasion. Convicted after the jury heard him confess in a secretly taped prison conversation with Sacco.
I got 2 kids in the service, Frank. I know it, Ray. Good God Almighty. Still have me gone. How, Ray? I perjured myself before the threat of a grand jury.
Sandy White, the state environmental inspector, has pleaded guilty to tax evasion after taking bribes from Sacco. Sam Mottola, police chief in Tuxedo for 25 years, pleaded guilty to tax evasion and perjury. In court today, Sacco was sentenced to 6 2/3 years in prison for racketeering, mail fraud, wire fraud, bribery, and money laundering. Sacco still faces other serious charges, including murder. In Tuxedo, more indictments are expected, and residents are still trying to figure out how it all happened.
And it's like a soap opera. It really is a continuing story.
Was it greed?
Certainly. This place looks green, but there's nothing green like money, and the money's very persuasive.
This was a rape of us. That's what it was. It's something that nobody ever expected.
No one knows yet what future health problems this dump site will pose, or how many toxic chemicals will leach into the river that provides drinking water for 500,000 people downstream. What authorities do know is that what happened to Tuxedo can happen to any small town in America. Harold Dow, CBS News, Tuxedo, New York.
An appeals court in Cincinnati today denied a request from Baseball Commissioner Bart Giamatti to lift a lower court order temporarily barring the commissioner from calling Pete Rose into a disciplinary hearing. A local judge Sunday granted the appeal, which was upheld today, saying Giamatti already had prejudged Rose as guilty of illegal gambling.
Enjoying yourself. That's what life is all about. And it's easy when you have the best bladder control protection. Depend Undergarments has special layers of absorbency that won't bunch or sag, and elastic legs for a better fit. They're the best protection and the best way for you to get back into life. Hey!
Get back into life with Depend.
The finer things. Happily, some are affordable, like Grey Poupon Dijon mustard. So fine, it's even made with white wine.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon?
But of course. Grey Poupon, one of life's finer pleasures.
I can't tell you how much I love these guys, but I can tell you it's 25% less than before.
Love your family 25% less with Fleischmann's Light. 25% less saturated fat, salt, and calories than regular margarine. And zero cholesterol. Fleischmann's Light.
After going to the hospital and after being treated for my broken finger, I realized that I had a headache. And the doctor suggested that I take Tylenol. It emphasized how much hospitals and how much doctors really trust Tylenol. So I went ahead and I took it. Ever since then, I've been using Tylenol.
Shelley Pyle trusts Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
If they feel it's good enough for their patients, then I feel it's good enough for me also.
Now try new gelatin-coated gel caps, only from Tylenol.
Searchers say they may have found a fortune in the wreck of a Spanish galleon that sank off Key West in the early 1600s. Archaeologists say the condition of the ship itself is a treasure, buried so deep that it's been preserved intact. Juan Vasquez has the pictures.
The bell came from a well-preserved Spanish galleon in international waters off Key West. At 1,500 feet below the surface, it was once too deep to recover. But now, a remote-controlled vehicle enables salvagers to find and raise artifacts they could never reach before.
The presumption is that any ship of the era would have been carrying at least some amount of gold and silver.
The waters off the coast of Florida are a graveyard of ancient ships. Spanish vessels of the 16th and 17th centuries carrying the plunder of the New World often sank in violent storms. Most have never been found. To treasure hunters, a sunken Spanish galleon may contain incredible riches, the stuff that dreams and profits are made of. But to historians, the discovery represents history itself, not something to be bought and sold.
The value is in the historical information rather than in the treasure chest.
But the operators of the Seahawk contend they are not out to loot their discovery. They have enlisted the help of archaeologists to retain the historical value of their find and make a profit.
We think that we can take everything that's going on here and convert it to a financial purpose without going out and prostituting the wreck by taking it to an auction.
The salvagers still don't know the name of the ship they found, and they say it could take years of painstaking work to raise the hulk intact. But Morris says he knows the location of 5 or 6 other wrecks and plans to start looking for them within a few weeks. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Tampa.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. Dan Rather. See you tomorrow. Good night.
I'm Harry Smith. Tomorrow, the reporter in the movie Batman, actor Robert Wald. Also, entertainer and businessman Merv Griffin on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Chris Clark. Coming up next on Eyewitness News, Metro Police